Investors, welcome back for another week worth of a dividend portfolio deep dive. Now, I am extremely excited to cover my investment moves from this past week because, as you're all going to see right before your eyes, my portfolio is evolving, it's changing, and most importantly, we just keep climbing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to it. So first and foremost, I want to actually open up to you and share that these weekly portfolio updates are new to my channel, and I started sharing these updates on a weekly basis just to show you that investing really is as simple as being consistent and investing into high quality companies. Now, on top of that, I think more than anything, you're really able to catch how I am, along with my portfolio, evolving over time, but by baby steps every single week. However, I do want to know if this content is useful for you, so please do me a massive favor and let me know in the comments if I'm on the money or I should actually just dedicate my time to producing different type of content for you all that would better benefit you. That would very much be appreciated and go a long way for all of us. Now, update wise, before I even cover my portfolio with Gitcoin, the company I use to track and share my portfolio, which by the way, there is a link in the pinned comment for you, I had a major couple of updates this past week, whereas they just partnered with a company by the name of SnapTrade to more accurately cover our portfolios, and they have added some new features while improving the user experience overall. So I'm coming in now just to say that I'm very happy as a Gitcoin customer, and if you're not already tracking your portfolio, I highly recommend it. After all, I always say what gets done in life is measured. With that, let's open up Gitcoin to see exactly where I'm at on the week in terms of my portfolio. Well, on the week there, we were down on Thursday before ending on a much higher note, and all in all, we can just see that I'm now north of $205,000 at $205,085.63 within my brokerage account. And really quickly, you're of course going to see that I made some purchases here this past week in some ETFs, and I even did some trimming on a position there with Dividend, but we're going to cover that more in just a bit. We're going to go ahead and scroll back up here to the portfolio allocation because I want you to keep tabs on how my portfolio is actually evolving. It's almost like a portfolio that is on a lean diet these days, where I was once very stock heavy with over 51% of my portfolio in stocks, but now I'm at 48.7% of my funds weight in stocks before tapping into ETF positions coming in at 26%, mutual funds at 14.7%, and then an ever-growing cash position here nearly hitting $21,000 and coming in around 10.2% of my portfolio's weight. But I want to go ahead and talk about that for just a second here because first of all, it's a growing position that you're likely going to see me add another $5,000 to this week because I'm really using it like a savings account. Why? Well, we're going to jump over to Vanguard to actually explore the settlement fund itself. Your money is not just sitting there not invested. It's actually invested into positions that are ultra safe. We're talking about repurchase agreements, government bonds, and treasury bills. So again, super safe to ultimately work in your favor, producing a solid 7-day SEC yield there of 5.26%, which is all just to say I want my money, all of my money, working for me at all times. But we're going to go ahead and click back into Gitcoin to cover the sector spread here in my portfolio, which we can see a shift from 2 weeks ago, coming in at just 44.4% of my portfolio now in tech as opposed to over 50% 2 weeks back. Then we tap into 12.92% in consumer discretionary and another 12.6% in healthcare before spreading into other sectors, all working out now to my positions, with Vanguard's total stock market index fund still the largest position at nearly $30,000 there at 14.7% of my portfolio. We tap into Apple coming in at 13.2% before more of Vanguard's total stock market index there at another 11.7%. My cash position at 10.22% of my portfolio. Vanguard's tech ETF, VGT, at 10% as well. Google coming in just under 10% at 9.91% of my portfolio, before we then get into Johnson & Johnson at 8.17% of my portfolio. Now the S&P with VOO at 4.5%, which is a position you're also going to see me growing over time. And then we have Realty Income, Lockheed Martin, Visa, so on and so forth in terms of my positions. Now, as for Gitcoin's epic update here, we can actually scroll down and I'm going to give you a sneak peek. We can see that we're going to get a comprehensive dividend breakdown of all of my dividend income, but I want you to go ahead and click on calendar view if you have Gitcoin, and we can suddenly see the dividend stocks that are going to pay me on the month here of August from Apple to Realty Income, Dividend, and Starbucks. But bear in mind, this is not the dividends from my settlement fund also kicking in, so stay tuned for the whole monthly dividend income update. Now, as As for what I did this past week, well, I shared already, I trimmed a position, and that position was Darden Restaurants, ticker symbol DRI, which is a restaurant operator with brands like the Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, and the Capitol Grill all under its belt of operation. Now, ultimately, I bought more shares of Darden a few weeks back when the stock was at that low of around $140 per share, knowing full well that it would rebound, and sure enough, it did. It popped up to $156 now, so I used a little bit of that swing trade action to actually then dump more money into a different position. But zoom out here to see over 393% worth of growth over the last decade for Darden, and I think it's just a solid keeper in any dividend portfolio. So don't get me wrong here, I didn't sell out of it completely. I was only trimming down 8 shares to ultimately again reallocate some capital. But if you're looking to buy it, I feel it's still an opportune time right now. After all, analysts do see Darden coming up to $170 per share, nearly $170. It's about 8% worth of upside. Hedge funds just continue to score more shares, at least of last quarter. And of course, as dividend investors, we can get that savory dividend with Darden as it shells out a hefty dividend yield here coming in at 3.4%. But as for what I bought, well, after selling Darden, I went ahead to buy some more shares worth of Amazon. Once again, buying 4 more shares for a total of $692.24, bringing that share count up to 29 total shares worth of Amazon altogether. As for where Amazon stands today, well, it's up on the year by 13%, but off the peak there, trading now for $172 per share. And if we click to the 10-year chart here to get a very impressive 915% worth of appreciation, while analysts predict over 30% worth of upside, hitting $224.50, and hedge funds ultimately just keep pouring more and more money into Amazon, scoring more than 2.1 million shares, to which I'm asking myself what our future looks like, and I only see Amazon growing, whether that's in the e-commerce space, and they're already a dominant player there, or when it comes to AWS, Amazon Web Services. Now, Amazon is not a dividend stock, but personally, as a dividend investor, Amazon's moat is just unbeatable to the point where it remains just one of 2 positions there in my portfolio, not paying a dividend, but allowed into my portfolio. However, if you're looking strictly for dividend payers that are also tech behemoths, Alphabet, ticker symbol GOOGL, just continues to be a position I pour money into for no other reason other than it's just Google. Now, Google on steroids it will be with AI as it evolves, so I'll leave it at that. I bought 3 more shares worth of Google at $498.21, brings my share count up to 125 shares worth of Google before I ended the week scoring more shares worth of Vanguard's tech fund, ticker symbol VGT, buying 1 more share to dollar cost average my way into this position. It was $569.77, thus spending a grand total of $1,760.22, and I'm continuing to run with my notion of just keep buying. So with that approach, I want to know what you've been up to this past week, if you've been buying anything, if you've sold anything, if you're just sitting tight for hopefully these interest rate cut days to come. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not already part of this journey to catch every single dividend stock idea. But most importantly, you can get more insights right now, right here, and I'll see you in the next one.